Hello.
Then. Now.
Countdown to the queens.
Episode number 500.
Forever.
Looks like hell froze over.
Without any more further ado,
Together.
let's jump straight into the show. Hello, welcome to episode number, I believe it's 192 of the TEW IX Challenge Run. We're here for SmackDown for August the 1st, 2025. We're finally in August. We're in SummerSlam month, baby. Let's fucking go. And yeah, we're coming off of the Evolution and King of the Ring shows. We have a new Women's World Champion, that being IYO SKY. We have a King of the Ring winner from Raw in Gunther, but he is on SmackDown, at least temporarily, because he chose to wrestle Sami Zayn for the World Heavyweight Championship at SummerSlam. And yeah, we're going to find the fallout of those shows as the build towards SummerSlam continues. There were some big developments on the SmackDown side on both of those events. Returns, stuff like that. And also, we're here in Toronto. Edge is here tonight. He said he was going to be here tonight when he came out on Monday. And he's got a major SummerSlam announcement, an exciting SummerSlam announcement that you're not going to want to miss. And the word on the street here in Toronto is he's brought some friends with him tonight. So yeah, without any more further ado, let's jump straight into the show. The show kicks off. Adam Pearce is in the ring. And he goes, ladies and gentlemen, Toronto, welcome to Friday Night SmackDown. Now, SmackDown was a very eventful, King of the Ring and Evolution were two very eventful nights on the calendar for SmackDown with major SummerSlam implications for this brand going forward for what is going to be an exciting SummerSlam from the SmackDown roster. And that is what actually brings me to the ring to kick things off this evening. And then before you can start, Fisher is here. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Stop. And Candice just walks out from the crowd. She gets into the ring and she goes, whatever you're about to say, it's not important. Okay? You are supposed to be the general manager of SmackDown around here. There's injustice running around on your show. And you're going to sit here and not do anything about it. It's last Sunday night in Seoul, the biggest tragedy to hit this promotion since Montreal took place. Okay, my foot was on the bottom rope when I was getting pinned, and the referee awarded IYO the World Championship instead of me. Now, I knew this whole time that IYO was the pocketed golden child of the system, and that nobody wanted me to be the champion, but you're being a little bit unsubtle about things right now, Pierce, okay? What was that, okay? You were gonna fix this, and you're gonna fix this now. Pierce goes, first of all, how dare you interrupt me when I've got a big, exciting opening to SmackDown planned? Second of all, you're Nick Aldis' problem now. He's the women's general manager. I don't know what you're getting involved in me for, okay? So if you got problems, you go to him. And thirdly, you're going to keep spinning this conspiracy theory nonsense, okay? Refereeing mistakes happen. The referee's call is final. It is official. Okay, great. So what am I supposed to do? Okay, I'm working for corrupt officials who want to silence me. Interviewers who want to ask me bullshit questions. And now I can't even be the champion. Because even though I'm better than your golden child, I beat her. And you're just going to screw me and take the championship off me, okay? Well, it's fine. I've got time. I need this sorted as soon as possible, so do whatever it is that's so important that you got to do right now than making your rightful Women's World Champion happy, okay? And fixing this great injustice. So I'm just going to stand here. I won't bother you, but the second this is over, me, you, and Nick, we're going to have a chat. She sort of just sulks in the corner, sits there and is like, go on, carry on. Peter sort of like looks over his shoulder and goes, as I was saying, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your 2025 King of the Ring, the Ring General, Gunther. Gunther. He's in his suit. He's holding his crown. He gets everything. He lifts his crown up. Pyro goes off. And Gunther takes the mic and goes, "Thank you, Adam Pearce, for that warm welcome. SmackDown. Toronto. This is gonna be my new home. After winning King of the Ring, the tournament that I needed to win because it cements the greatest professional wrestler on this roster today, which we all know is me. Your hero, John Cena. I put him down, made him retire early. And then Okada, the self-proclaimed greatest professional wrestler of all time, the self-proclaimed greatest tournament wrestler of all time. Well, guess what, little boy? You're 0-1 in tournaments here in WWE, and I see now why after all these months you were ducking me. Which brings me to Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, for the last 10 years here in this company, has treated himself as an underdog. But in recent months, he's proved he's more than that. Sami's proven that he's a top dog. Sami's proven that he is one of the greatest professional wrestlers in this company today. But unfortunately for Sami Zayn, he's not the Ring General. Sami's heart is in this business. He wins that championship for himself, for his children. It's not my dream to be World Heavyweight Champion. I don't need to be World Heavyweight Champion. I want to be World Heavyweight Champion because being World Heavyweight Champion is a physical symbol that you are the best. And whoever holds the championship at any given moment is that respective promotion, division, whatever you want to say, greatest professional wrestler in the world. And we just hear like some little snickers from Candice. And Gunther just snaps his head. And he just glares across at Candice. And he goes, I didn't realize you were still here. Didn't realize I said anything humorous. Just you would think it worked like that, Gunther, but it doesn't, especially not on this brand with this general manager. Okay? Now, I wish you the best of luck at SummerSlam. I truly do, but if this general manager in this place decides it doesn't want you to be champion, then you're not going to be champion. And she just walks off. And Gunther, he watches Candice leave. And he feels a little bit disrespected that, why is Candice even here, A? And B, how dare she fucking laugh during his acceptance speech and demean him. We then cut back Candice, we follow her back through Gorilla, and she bumps into Ember Moon backstage. And Ember goes, "You got anything you want to say to me?" And Candice goes, "Yeah. Come on, I need your help. We can solve this out together, this injustice that came above us." He goes, "Us? We?" He goes, "Listen. You're right. You paid my suspension off, and I thank you for that. But I put my career, my championship aspirations in your hands, and what did you do? You fumbled. So you can save the we, but I don't speak French. I'm doing it by myself, and I'm going to prove that I can get it done better by myself than I ever could have, being your lapdog." And Ember just walks off. And Candice just chuckles and goes, "Fine. Whatever, I don't fucking need you anyway. Sure, God. Another one against me, okay?" And see Neville and Ricky Saints backstage. And Ricky walks into like the death triangle and he's like, sort of like just looks around, it's all like dark, and he's like, And of course, "Can I help you?" he goes, actually, yeah, you can. Tonight, we've got this tag team match. It's you and I against Okada and AJ. And, listen here, Goblin. I know we are nothing alike. You know, I'm stylish, I'm absolute, and you're this. But at the end of the day, unfortunately, we do have the same goal. We both want to be Intercontinental Champion. But here's the thing. I want to be Intercontinental Champion, you want to be Intercontinental Champion, AJ Styles wants to be Intercontinental Champion. Andrade and Montez Ford, they're about to fight, they both want to be Intercontinental Champion. And who knows who else around here wants to be Intercontinental Champion. So, if we have the champion tonight, follow my lead out there. We can beat the champion, then we'll be next up. And Neville just laughs and goes, I don't follow anybody else's lead but mine. But I promise you, I will get that title shot. And if I've got to go through you to get it, I'll do just that. A6. Montez Ford was working through an injury, so his performance took a little bit of a hit. But he does pick up the win. Montez Ford gets the win with the Frog Splash in 13:48. 72 for Tez, 92 for Andrade. So yeah, Montez Ford with a win here on SmackDown against Andrade. And after the match, Montez Ford takes the mic. And he goes, well, since everybody else seems to be doing it around here right now, allow me to not sit out on the party and get myself involved. Okada, son, you beat me a couple of weeks, months, however long. I know Montez Ford and Okada have fought before, is all I'm saying. Whenever that was. But I want another shot. I want to be Intercontinental Champion, just like all these other people want to be Intercontinental Champions. If you want to defend that championship, you're looking at the next guy who wants it. Yeah, there sure are a lot of people sniffing around the IC title right now. Interesting. Then cut backstage to Kayla, and she's sort of like awkwardly looking around. She goes, well, it did say on my sheet that Candice was supposed to be here for an interview, but she's not showed up. So, ladies and gentlemen, my new guest at this time, Ilya Dragunov. Ilya walks in, all intense. She goes, Ilya, we hadn't seen you for a number of months since that punt from Randy Orton, but you made your return at King of the Ring, and you want to get your hands on Randy. Ilya goes, Kayla, 3 months of my career I had to sit out. I was at the top of my game. 3 months, to me, is a life. 3 months not being able to do what I want to do because of Randy. And now, I'm back. And Randy will feel the wrath of the Shah. And then Grayson Waller walks and he goes, listen to this, mate. Listen to you. Randy Orton just kicked you in the head. And you're coming back here. You might still be a little bit concussed because things have changed around here. Randy Orton, he's done with you, lad. You're yesterday's news. Nobody cares about Ilya Dragunov anymore. They care about the rising stars. And this is the year Grayson Waller finally gets himself big time here on SmackDown. And Ilya goes, is that so? Is that so? Well, I actually do need to get my anger and frustrations out on somebody. And since I haven't seen Randy tonight, I guess you'll have to do. And then you're like, hey, no, I never said all that. I don't want to waste my time wrestling a flop like that, Kayla. Kayla just shrugs and like, what can you do? So Grayson Waller will face Ilya Dragunov later on tonight. We then cut to the ring. Out comes Edge. Big pop in Toronto. He was expected this time. So, I guess, this is the buy your tickets to Toronto to see Edge, because he came out unannounced on Raw. He goes, wow, back here again so soon. Now, Monday, I have to apologize to you all for that. I got a little bit emotional. But I hope and pray that what I said to John, it got through to him. But we're done with talking about that. We're talking about the future. We're also talking about the past. We're talking about history. Because, Toronto, tonight, for what I've been brought here to say, I figured I'd bring some friends along the way. Out come the Dudleys. The Dudleys come out, they get into the ring. They shake hands with Edge. And then Edge, he gestures up the ramp. He's like, more people are coming out. Out come Matt and Jeff. They get into the ring. They hug all of these guys. And, well, Christian's not here because, Christian is a dickhead in canon. So I didn't bring him here for this. He goes, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at, 2.5 of the greatest tag teams in WWE history. Us 5 and Christian revolutionized tag team wrestling here in this company. We made those championships go from being passed around in the opening match to being headline worthy, to stealing the show. And I think it's very fitting that Toronto is the place and SummerSlam is the place coming up. Because this year at SummerSlam marks 25 years since myself and my former best friend, since Bubba and Devon, since Matt and Jeff changed tag team wrestling forever. TLC 1. Edge and Christian, the Hardy Boys, and the Dudley Boys. And things were never the same again. And with such history at such an event, marking the 25-year anniversary of TLC 1, Adam Pearce gave me the call and he said, we want to do it again. But here's the catch. This year, it'll be 3 of this generation's current greatest tag teams doing it out to see who can become immortal. And the decision wasn't entirely all in his hands. He left some of it up to me, to Matt, to Jeff, to Bubba, to Devon. So over the past week, we've all picked a team. A team we think most captures the spirit of those teams from 25 years ago. And they're gonna duke it out in tables, ladders, and chairs at SummerSlam. So without any further ado, allow me to introduce you to one of the most influential tag teams of this generation. The tag teams of the present and the future see them as icons, the way they probably saw us as icons. 2 best friends from the same city, holding it down for tag team glory. Alex Shelley, Chris Sabin, the Motor City Machine Guns. Out come the Guns. They come in, they shake hands with Edge. And then the mic gets passed to Bubba and Devon. And Bubba goes, well, Adam, it's very fitting that you picked a team just like you and Christian. Because there was only one choice for Devon and I to make. Because It's gonna be tables, ladders, and chairs. And when it's tables, ladders, and chairs, you can know damn well back in the day you were getting 3D. But these brothers, they don't need 3D. They only need one. Usos come out, they're yeeting. They shake hands with Bubba and Devon. Then Matt and Jeff get the mic and Matt's like, yes! 2 fantastic tag teams. 2 best friends looking to make a statement. 2 brothers looking to make a statement. But there ain't no tables, ladders, and chairs without Team Extreme. And what's a tables, ladders, and chairs tag team match without a pair of high-flying, extreme daredevil brothers to wind it all together? Ladies and gentlemen, your WWE Tag Team Champions, Rey Fenix and Penta, the Lucha Bros. Out come the Lucha Bros. They stand in the ring. And yeah, we have our 3 teams for TLC at SummerSlam. It'll be the Lucha Brothers defending against both the Motor City Machine Guns and the Usos.
When New Day dropped, and New Day came, and New Day built, the New Day name is New Day's time. The New Day's
Well, now comes Xavier Woods. This, this is a joke, right? You're joking here. There's a rug pull, you know. There was a secret 4th team, you know. You're gonna get, I don't know, Rhino or Lita or Spike to come out here and say, actually, there's another team you forgot to mention, the actual greatest tag team of all time, better than all 3 of you, better than these 3 jokers from this generation. So go ahead. Announce the new day for this TLC match. And then you also just look at each other and go, Woods, you and the New Day, you are a great tag team. Arguably the greatest of all time. You know, you set records. You've done better than a tag team than pretty much every team in this ring. But to be the tag team champion, you sort of have to be on the same page. And lately we've been seeing that the New Day, they ain't on the same page. Woods goes, how dare you say that about us? Me and E and Kof have never been closer. In fact, I've got a match coming up next. So if I can win that match, I'm going to prove to you that the New Day's new way is the best way forward. And you will all be thanking God that the New Day aren't here to ruin your fun at SummerSlam. So yeah, Xavier Woods obviously not happy about New Day being snubbed in that TLC match, but he does have a match of Cedric Alexander coming up next. Gets a 76. And Cedric pins Woods with a roll-up because Big E has had enough. He comes back out with the towel again, and Xavier Woods like, you know, fuck off. You know, you threw in the towel for me at King of the Ring. And he starts, you know, shouting at E as he walks down. And then Cedric rolls him up and beats Xavier Woods here on SmackDown. 73 for Woods, 74 for Cedric. But yeah, Big E, again, you know, he can't hide his smirk, you know. He's happy to see Woods get his comeuppance here tonight. But he couldn't quite throw in the towel again. But Cedric Alexander does pick up the win. A fairly big win over Xavier Woods, to be fair. And Big E, after the match, he gets into the ring. And Woods are not happy. He fucking shoves Big E. He goes, what the hell are you doing, huh? You think this is funny? And he smacks Big E in the face. And he goes, why don't you just go to the back? Rest up your hurt little neck. and stop getting involved in actual wrestling business. He sort of shoves him back again and spits in Big E's face. And Big E, like, that triggers him, you know, he wipes the spit off his face. He looks down at it, disgusted in his hand. And when Xavier Woods turns down, Big E rips his head off with a clothesline to a big pop. He's finally dropped this fucking little prick. He goes to pick him up for a big ending, and Woods slides down the back. He scurries up the ramp, and Big E's there. He's like, huh? I've had enough of you. I've had enough of you. We need to settle this once and for all, huh? We need to settle this. And Woods, you know, he scurries away. He's scared now, because he didn't really ever think Big E would hit back at him. But he has. Then get a quick backstage segment. AJ's with Okada. Because again, they're teaming up tonight against Ricky Saints and Neville. He goes, Okada-san. Bad luck. A king of the ring. You know, I knew you had what it took to beat Randy, but going through one hell of a competitor. And now he's here on SmackDown. He thinks you were ducking him. And Okada goes, next time I face Gunther, I will beat him. But tonight, he sort of like taps the bell. He goes, it's about this. And AJ goes, that's great. You know what? We have a lot of respect for each other. You and I. It was great meeting you in King of the Ring. But make one thing perfectly sure. I don't know how much longer I've got. And I will take any championship I could get my hands on. He sort of like pats the bell on Okada's shoulder. Okada looks down at it, he grins, he goes, I look forward to it. And he walks off. So yeah, they are on the same page, there is a mutual respect, but of course AJ, the latest competitor who's throwing his hat into the ring for the IC title. We then cut to Gorilla. We see Yoko there, she's sort of like panicked, and Julia approaches her, and Yoko's like, hey, back away, like she doesn't want to be seen with Julia. And Julia's like, what the fuck is this? Like, we're friends, why are you, like, backing away from me? And Yoko sort of, like, sheepishly looks around like she doesn't want to be seen with Julia. She goes, good luck tonight in your match. I'll wait here. And Julia's like, no nonsense, I want you out there, you know. It's against Zelina Vega, she's going to have fatal influence out there. I want my friend at ringside too. And then Julia's music hits and she sort of like just scurries Yoko out. And Yoko is forced to be in her friend's corner. For a 90 rated match. Jesus Christ. Julia beats Zelina 13:06 for Beautiful Madness. 94 for Julia, 69 for Zelina. Yeah, nice win for Julia here. Definitely a really nice win. Better than I thought it was going to be. Then after the match, she celebrates when the Queendom music hits and Cammy comes out with... No, probably just by herself, actually. She goes, Julia. First of all, hi. Congratulations on your win. Welcome back. I haven't had a chance to talk with you since Money in the Bank. And you can obviously understand that caused a bit of an issue on Sunday night when you came out and cost Utami and Saya their tag team championship match. But it's fine. Okay? Because what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. Okay, we proved that last year and we took out the dead weight. We brought you in, Julia, because we knew that you were great. We brought you and Yoko in. Because we see the chemistry and we see the talent between both of you. And we all know that at the end of the day, it's my word here that counts. And Utami, okay, listen, Utami she's a little bit paranoid because she saw who was, if you would excuse this, I don't mean it as an insult, second in command when she was second in command, the heir apparent. She saw us to take that top spot, and obviously if she is now at the top spot and she was overseeing that, she's gonna be paranoid that you're gonna do the same thing, but it's fine. That's why she did what she did at Money in the Bank. Because she was misguided and she got a misconception of what you wanted out of this. But I know your heart's in the right place. I know that you bleed queendom. And I'm here to forgive you. So we can put this all as water under the bridge. And then we can get back to doing what we do best. And that's when Utami does interrupt. And she's like, fuck no. Like, this fucking bitch, okay, she cost me my championship match. And now you want to just welcome her back in. And then Julia goes, well, who the fuck says I want to be back in? Like, you fucking threw me out. I could have been standing here women's world champion, because obviously the Money in the Bank briefcase lasted 10 minutes. And that could have been me, and we could have had the championship, but you were too insecure because you don't want to see anybody else succeed other than yourself. And then Cammy goes, listen, okay, things are getting heated here, I understand. And then Utami just shoves Cammy out of the way and punches Julia in the face. A brawl breaks out. Yoko's sort of like watching, she's like, she wants to try and help Julia. And then Cammy sort of like looks at her like, you stay back. And then Saya jumps in. She jumps Julia from behind as well. So it is a 2-on-1. Yoko is there. She wants to jump in and help her friend, but she can't because she's technically still in Queendom, and Cammy, has told her not to. And then they pick Julia up. They sort of like rip her armband off or whatever, shove it down her throat. She gets a big knee to the face. And Cammy takes her back and she goes, it didn't have to be like this. All of this was, it could have been avoided because... And then Utami just snatches the microphone and goes, goodbye, bitch. And just slams the mic down, storms off. And even Cammy's like sort of unsettled. Saya obviously leaves with Utami. And Cammy sort of like looks conflicted between Julia and Utami here. But they have apparently booted her out of the group. Utami has made that executive decision. But yeah. We then come backstage. This fucking group of people has just popped me. We then cut backstage, and Candice is still fucking steaming in her locker room, and she goes, have you heard anything from Nick? And the camera pans across, and Gargano just walks in. He goes, not yet. He's apparently still trying to reach EO. And he goes, I don't know, he's not going to do anything, Johnny, okay, because there's some bullshit conspiracy theory, okay, because nobody wants me to be the champion because they don't like the way I do about business, and they fucking screwed me over. And Johnny goes, relax, Candice, like, I'm on your side, but you're not the only person who had a bad weekend, either, okay, I lost my championship, and the less said about that, the better. But I think wild, crazy conspiracy theories, you might be jumping into a too high of a conclusion. Cass goes, well, what the fuck else would it have been, huh? What's the other reason for this? Johnny goes, well, it's, and she goes, I swear to God. And he goes, what? I'm not in I swear to God, if you mention a curse, Johnny, we're gonna have you're sleeping on the couch. He goes, I wasn't going to talk about the curse. I was just saying. I think it's weird that we both lost this past weekend, and it's because of that Danhausen guy. And he goes, did somebody say Danhausen? And Johnny gets jump scared. And he goes, oh, I didn't mean to startle you. I just wanted to. Danhausen wanted to stop by and say thank you very much for a stupendous SmackDown debut last week. Now I'm on my way to becoming the main event superstar that Friday Night SmackDown needs. I'm going to have my face on the trucks very soon. I'm going to be the world champion. And don't forget, I'm going to keep cursing you. He goes, don't you dare. No more curses. No more curses. And the guy goes, ha, you. He goes, don't you dare. He goes, He goes, don't you dare. And then Candice just gets up. She snaps like a leg off her chair or whatever. And like pins Danhausen up against the wall. And she goes, do I look like I'm in the mood for this? Do I? And Danhausen just like shakes his head aggressively. Listen, I don't buy any of your bullshit, okay? But for some reason, Johnny's really concerned about you. So what you're going to do right now when I let you go is you're going to uncurse Johnny. And you're going to stay the fuck out of my locker room. Are we clear? Danhausen goes, Yes, we're clear. And then he sheepishly gets up. He sadly curses Johnny as like to take the curse back, and he leaves. And Johnny goes, "Do you think that'll work?" She goes, "There's only one way to find out. What I need you to do is go and find RJ City, and I want you to get a rematch for your championship on Velocity tonight. Then we'll see if this curse stuff is real." And Johnny's like, "Tonight? I'm not prepared." He goes, "Yes, tonight. One of us better get our belt back tonight. And it's sure as hell not going to be me." 86 raid match. Ilya Dragunov versus Grayson Waller. Big win. Not big win. Grayson Waller is like mid-card who loses a lot. So he's not really a big win. But here's a win. Ilya is back in action. 88 for Ilya, 68 for Grayson Waller. And yeah, nice win. And then after the match, Ilya takes the mic and he goes, Randy, I don't understand what goes on in that head of yours, and quite frankly, I don't want to understand what goes in that head of yours, because you've made it perfectly clear it's a dangerous place to be, but that's fine, because my mind is just as dangerous as yours. But I want to let one thing be known, Randy, you made a fatal mistake. Not just by punting me in the head, but you came out here and said it was nothing personal. Maybe it wasn't to you, Randy. But some of us are on the rise here in WWE. Some of us want to be World Heavyweight Champion, or aren't concerned about what their legacy may end up being, because they can't hang with the brutality of guys like me. So, Randy, wherever you're at, I know where you'll be in 15 nights, and that's at MetLife Stadium at SummerSlam, when Ilya Dragunov brings you pain. Mic drop. Ilya and Randy, SummerSlam, bang. Then see Sol and Kelani backstage, and they're having a chat because Ruca has a Liberty title match up against Kairi Sane up next. And Sol goes, "Hey, Kelani, I know I've been doing this tag team thing for a while now, but Queen of the Ring was so great for both of us. I mean, neither of us managed to get through and pick up a win in singles competition, but it really, got our names out there in the singles ranks, and now I've got this Liberty Championship match, and it's going to be great." Kelani goes, "Yeah, I'm rooting for you, Sol. It'll be nice to see one of us get a championship, and who knows, maybe after you win it, you can defend that title against me, friend versus friend." And Sol goes, just so you know, because I've been in tag teams before, I'm still all about us. Solani is for life, but I really want to get this title. And Kelani goes, "Yeah, I get it. Come on, let's go." And Sol Ruca goes out for her title shot against Kairi Sane. 84. She does come up short, but it is a valiant effort from Sol Ruca. Kairi does win in 11:03. Insane elbow. 80 for Kairi, 77 for Sol Ruca. And after the match, Kairi is celebrating with her belt. And then she's jumped from behind by Ember Moon in what is a vicious attack. She jumps her, she starts hammering forearms in on the back of her head. She throws her to the outside. She puts her up against the steps, rams her against the steps a couple of times. She sits her down in the steel steps. She running, drop kicks her, as she's leaned up against the steps, and leaves Kairi laid down. And she walks over, she picks up the belt off the floor. She sort of looks at it in her hands. And she goes, "Congratulations, real champ. Look after this, because next time, when it's all just you and I'm the one taking it, and I'm gonna keep it." Just drops the belt down. Walks out, boos echoing around, because, they've attacked Kairi, Who doesn't love Kairi, This will be going up at some point, probably on Tuesday. So I don't know what they did on Raw, but you guys sure do love Kairi. I'll make that clear. I don't know how much you love her if you want her to go back to there and be booked like that, but you sure do like her. Jordan, Grace, and Nova, sort of just basically having a dick measuring contest backstage as two of the hosses of the SmackDown Women's Division, and then, Nova's like, well, I did beat you in Queen of the Ring, so, who's really the big dog here in the Women's Division, because it's certainly hell not you, because you had the chance to prove it last week, and you failed. And Jordan goes, well, I'm free next week. And then Nova's like, well, I'm free next week. So yeah, they got a match next week. Jordan and Nova just bickering backstage because they both need something to do. So I guess they're going to fight each other again. 98 rated tag team match. Jesus. I did not expect it to be that good. But yes, AJ Styles and Okada against Ricky Saints and Neville. And it's the heel team who pick up the win. Ricky Saints pins AJ Styles with a Rochambeau in 1702. 94 for Okada, 78 for AJ, 94 for Neville, 89 for Ricky. So yeah, who knows? That's technically a win over the IC champion for both these men here tonight. But Montez Ford also said he was next up. So again, there sure are a lot of people that want this belt right now. Next week, we have 2 matches set for SmackDown next week, including the aforementioned Intercontinental Championship clash. Kazuchika Okada, the champion, defends the championship, I believe for the second time, against Montez Ford, as Montez Ford looks to stake his claim and take home the Intercontinental Championship. Plus, as we saw earlier on tonight, the women in action. It'll be Nova Nebula and Jordan Grace. They've still got some issues to settle after Queen of the Ring. They're going to settle them next week here on SmackDown. And moving on to SummerSlam, we have some big matches set for that show. The first, tables, ladders, and chairs. 3 tag teams, just as it was written up 25 years ago. The Lucha Bros will defend the championships against the Motor City Machine Guns and the Usos. Plus, it's now been made official, Randy Orton and Ilya Dragunov will go one-on-one to settle their differences at SummerSlam. And speaking of settling differences at SummerSlam, a little bit of breaking news following tonight's ordeal. We will see Queendom's former, second in command, Julia. After she's been exiled from the group, she will face the head honcho, the queen herself, the one who calls the shots now after tonight, Utami Hayashishita and Julia one-on-one at SummerSlam. We then see Kairi. She's being checked on in the doctor's office, and Io's in there, obviously standing by her friend's side. And then Io sort of gets the nod from some random guy in the back. It's like, hey, you can go out there now. Nick Aldis needs you outside in the ring. And then she leaves. We sort of follow her through the hallway when she's stopped by Gunther. And Io sort of looks up at Gunther. Gunther glares down at her. And he goes, I've always respected you. I've always considered you perhaps the best professional wrestler in the women's division here in WWE. And earlier on tonight, I was disrespected. And I want you to make things right. And he walks off. And Io's like, well, what the fuck? Why is fucking Gunther getting all up in my shit? And then, as we go, we continue to follow Io down the hallway, when, obviously, we cut back to the ring, because Candice can't wait. She's in the ring when she goes, come on, champ, where you at? Unless you're just wasting time, because, you shouldn't have that championship, because that belongs to me. Okay, now, I need to calm down. Maybe Io sees the light, okay? I doubt it, because she's a masochist, but maybe she's coming out here to reluctantly hand the Women's World Championship back over to the actual champion, that being me. Because if she doesn't, There's gonna be a problem, Nick. Io's music hits, she comes out to the ring. And she gets in Candice's face. They sort of like almost get into an instant fight. And referees have to like pull them apart. And stop them. Not a pull apart brawl. Because they don't actually get to fighting each other. And then Candice's like, come on. Hand me the championship back. And Io goes, kiss my ass. I beat you for it. I guess of course she's going to say that. Okay, of course you're going to say that. Because you don't understand what you're doing. You're trying to play oblivious to it all. I've been here before. I didn't come this far from my success to only last 3 weeks. To watch all of my hard work be undone through means outside of my own control. To have my championship back around your waist knowing that I could have changed it again. You don't get to get your second championship reign off my back. I'm the champion. I need that. And Nick Aldis goes, whoa. Candice, relax. If you put a hand on each other, neither of you will be the women's world champion, okay? So, I have a solution. And Nick Candice goes, what is it? And he goes, I think there's only one way to determine who is the rightful women's world champion. And I've been thinking it over long and hard. And here is what we're gonna do. SummerSlam. We find out who is the real women's world champion and we end this between you once and for all. Which got me thinking, how do you end something? We've already had you unsanctioned. We've already had the Money in the Bank fiasco. We've already had a tag team match. Candice just went through Hell in a Cell. But here's how we find a definitive winner. At SummerSlam, 3 stages of hell. Big pop. Chance goes, course. What are they going to be, you know? The first stage is going to be a IYO wins match, and the second stage, he goes, let me finish! If you truly fancy yourself the best, most vicious, most vindictive woman here on SmackDown, this shouldn't be a problem for you. The first fall will be a standard one-on-one encounter. The second fall will be falls count anywhere. And the third fall, should it be needed, and like he has like a fabric bag in his hand. He just launches the bag in the ring and it like lands in the middle of the two. And IYO goes to pick it up and Candice's like, hey, what's that? What have you just given her? What have you just given her? And then IYO's like, well, fucking you pick it up then, bitch. And then Candice goes to pick it up, then all of a sudden IYO's like, wait, no. And then Nick's like, for the love of God, will one of you just open the bag? And they both sort of like just put their hands in the bag. And then they both pull their hands out at the same time, and they're both holding one end of a dog collar each. And Nicholas goes, and the third fall, should it be necessary, will be a dog collar match. Have fun at SummerSlam, ladies. Try not to kill each other on the way there. And we'll find out once and for all who between you two really is the women's world champion. Bang. 3 stages of hell. It's funny because when I was thinking of this match in my head, I was like torn for so long. I was like, do I want to do 3 stages of hell or do I want to do a dog collar match? And then one day I was like, just sat there. I was like, well, I can literally fucking do both. So, like, I can just make the last stage a dog collar match. I was like, that was a whole pointless ordeal. But yes, IYO and Candice one more time. I'm not going to say last time. Because, you know, maybe in, I don't know, 8 months' time, they may end up wrestling again, but at least for this section of the feud and this part of the story, this arc, this is the season finale of this, basically. Dog collar match, 3 stages of hell, normal match, into Force Count Anywhere, into dog collar. 91 rated show. Yeah, pretty stacked episode of SmackDown. A lot of big shit announced for SummerSlam. 3 stages of hell main event, TLC. I want to keep calling it like a number, but there's been about 1 million TLC matches, so I can't. Yeah, Queendom blowing up, Randy and Ilya, all of that. And we're still not done, because there will be a Cruiserweight Championship rematch on Velocity. Javon Evans will defend the championship against Johnny Gargano. We kick off Velocity with Javon Evans and the Young OGs coming to the ring. Javon has his Cruiserweight Championship. And he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, it's a new time here on Velocity. Yes, sir." Now, if you didn't see King of the Ring, your boy Javon Evans, I won the Cruiserweight Championship. I beat Johnny Gargano, and I took that championship. Now, we say this because of some curse. Johnny's paranoid about Danhausen and a curse, and I tell you it ain't because of the curse, Johnny. It's because I'm better than you are. And tonight, you want your rematch? That's fine. I don't mind stomping you out for the second time in less than a week and proving that this new era here on Velocity is bouncy. And then David Martin takes it away. He goes, "And as for Dark State, we know you're lurking. We know that you're going to strike at any moment. For how long it's been since we've had to face off with you and deal with this BS. We're ready. In fact, me, myself, Cappuccino, and Leon, we're in 6-man tag team action coming up next. And when we win that, we're going to call you out to the ring. And we want a shot at those trios championships. So keep them nice and warm." So yeah, tonight we do have our main event of Javon Evans and Johnny Gargano. And we are going to kick things off with a 6-man tag. 70 rating. The Young OGs trio defeats this trio of Paris De Silva, Jack Cartwheel, and Jude London. David Martin pins Jack Cartwheel in 13:30. 34 for Cappuccino, 68 for Leon, 71 for David, 74 for Jude London, 65 for Paris De Silva, 50 for Jack Cartwheel. Okay, so these guys are scoring quite well. Sure. But yes, after the match though, the Young OGs do celebrate. But Dark State's nowhere to be seen, which is suspicious. But, you know, normally they don't turn down a fight, and they're ready to fight these guys at any jump, but they haven't appeared to attack the Young OGs tonight. 65 for a Speed Championship match. Hook beat Zachary Ben-Jahar in 3:47 to make defense number 4 of the Speed title. 65 for Hook, 73 for Zachary Ben-Jahar. So yeah, just a nice little win for Hook. I'll just defend. I've stopped redoing the Speed tournaments and we sort of just throw a defense on every now and again. It's basically like a mini TV title, but with a 5-minute time limit is the way I'm going to work about it. Like, yeah, I might even make it an actual TV title where it's defended every single week going forward. I don't know, but like the tournament thing of just having to book like 2 5-minute matches on Velocity every week was just getting tiring. And like the concept of the Speed belt as a whole is strange, but I can work with it as a, just a 5-minute TV slot title. But, booking tournaments around it and like having weeks and months between defenses it's not that sort of belt. So, yeah. And an 82 rated main event. Disaster has struck. Because Dark State have reared their faces in this main event. We thought they weren't here because they didn't come to take out the Young OGs earlier on tonight. So the Young OGs obviously let their guard down. And Javon Evans has been defeated by Johnny Gargano and he's won back the Cruiserweight Championship. I'm just saying, maybe the curse is real. Because that shit got unlifted and all of a sudden, Gargano has the belt back. 76 for Javon, 77 for Gargano. Then after the match, Saquon Sugar slides into the ring. He's just laughing as the rest of Dark State, beat up Javon Evans. He goes, "Did you really think? Did you really think we were gonna let you come back to our show with that championship after I said that you ain't never getting it? You thought we'd let that slide? Well, have fun, Javon. Nice little title reign you had here, because you and we're gonna end this sooner rather than later, and I don't need no distractions. I don't need you with that championship, Javon. I need you gone from my show." And then, Javon Evans laid out by Dark State. We get Panda Gargano. He's on the ramp. He's celebrating with his Cruiserweight Championship as the show goes off the air. 78 show. Sure, I use the Young OGs guys too much. Whatever. I'm always looking forward to the show. Mainly for SmackDown. And I'll see you next time for Raw in Pittsburgh, where Chad Gable will be receiving the gold medal of professional wrestling. Kurt Angle has been invited. Let's see if he shows. See you then.